you need to choose between being a mother and being purposeful about your work?
Staying in the comfort zone.
Women have to be warm, women have to be agreeable, they have to be likable.
Being confined to one single path.
Women should always play it safe in their career.
Confidence is something that is earned by proving yourself.
The role of staying in one's own lane.
Going home before sunset.
Accepting the status.
Idea of having to adjust because I'm a woman.
My career choices should be limited by my gender.
Male-dominated sector.
Pick a lane, stay in it, become an expert.
You cannot have a career growth after a break.
Daughters are not expected to take care of their parents financially.
Choosing a safe and predictable career path.
Women shouldn't be too ambitious.
Be agreeable to avoid conflict or make others comfortable.
I've been fortunate in a different way. I didn't have to break many rules myself because my mother had already broken them for me. When society asked her to keep me at home, she let me go. She let me choose. She let me fall apart and watch me rebuild. She did not shrink my world, she expanded it for me. So when I said I was moving to Bangalore, someone asked, "Why don't you choose comfort for once?" I did not hesitate. She broke the visible rules, so I break the invisible ones. Like staying in the comfort zone. That is my biggest inheritance.
Always believed in challenging things as they were, be it my choice of starting up early in my career after just little less than 2 years of work experience, or even today while building the integrated debt platform that we are as one of the first ones that India would ever see at this scale. One thing that has stayed true even till date is that we continue to question and challenge the status quo and build something that India has never seen before.
When I was pursuing chartered accountancy, a lot of people came and told me that, why don't I select something which is more laid back? Because as a woman, I would eventually need to manage home, raise children, and a demanding profession like CA would be very difficult to balance. But I believe that I could build a strong career, build family, and by choosing the path which is not easier, but the path I truly wanted to. The rule that the women should shrink their professional dreams to fit expectations simply didn't apply to me.
As an entrepreneur, I decided to break this rule, which is there is nothing called a male-dominated sector. We all are equal. We can deliver in every segment. There's no male and female, so I always decided to build in a place where my heart is, instead of checking whether it's male-dominated, it's female-friendly. So for me, in business, there is no gender bias. That's the rule that I broke. Also, at a personal level, the rule that I broke was I can go home anytime. There is no restriction on that.
Most women are told that we need to adjust, we need to compromise just to maintain the peace, even if we are internalizing the chaos and being unhappy ourselves. This comes from the smallest things like taking permission for everything we do, whether it's just going out or making a big career choice. But this was something that I never followed. I always made my own choices, made my own decisions, and didn't adhere to the society's timelines and milestones of what a woman should be doing through her life, and I will continue to do that.
One rule I decided didn't apply to me is that women should always play it safe in their careers. I have always believed that growth comes when you take risk and you have to come out from your comfort zone instead of waiting for right moment or permission.
The one rule that you need to choose between being a mother and being purposeful about your work, I've never found that to be true. If anything, I think both of these things complement each other really well. Motherhood, in fact, has taught me to be more pragmatic, more effective, multitask wherever required, be more present at what you do, and also prioritize things that matter to me the most. And I think all these traits put together are definitely an edge. I don't see that as a liability, it's definitely a leverage.
Early in my career, I used to think that confidence is something that is earned by proving yourself. But later, I realized that growth does not wait for perfection. It comes when you start taking ownership for your work, when you start sharing your ideas, or maybe you show up, even when you are still learning. So when I stopped waiting and started stepping forward, I realized that I created real impact, not for me, myself, but for my team as well. That's when I realized that confidence is something that is not granted. You earn it by stepping forward and speaking up your thoughts.
One rule rule that I decide not to follow is the rule of staying in one's own lane. Like, hey, you do not study science. Why are you building a material science company? Only to know that, well, it takes learning science by curiosity and not degree to build one such company. Or saying that, hey, you are a material science company, how will you truly build supply chains with farmers at grassroots level? Only to realize that you don't bring systematic change without building organizations that do multiple things well, like supply chain, manufacturing and technology together. Or the fact that girls don't really think of building big manufacturing units. Well, they do. You don't really have to stay in your lane. It is rather restricting. One needs to go beyond one's lane to unlock the true potential that comes by combining those lanes.
As you can see, it's 10:34 and I'm still out. I'm still not home. So initially my parents had put a curfew saying that I have to be back home before the sun sets. Then it became 7 p.m. and now it's 10 p.m. This one rule doesn't apply to me, I think, because I'm more of an outdoorsy person. I like hanging out with my friends and family. I would come home, but having a curfew, that doesn't make sense to me.
One rule that doesn't apply to me is being confined to one single path. I've always been a believer of doing what you love and what you're passionate about, and this has always opened newer paths for me. Even today in my career in marketing, I keep switching paths, from the creative side to the analytical side, depending on what the project requires.
One rule I decided didn't apply to me was, you cannot have a career growth after a break. After marriage, I had a gap of 4 years, and then I started my career as a freelance designer. I worked with multiple startups and MNCs, and I formed successful design teams from scratch. And at Civi, now I'm automating design. So if you have the passion and perseverance to do something, you can do anything after a break.
One rule I decided that didn't apply to me is the idea that women shouldn't be too ambitious. That our careers are just a phase until something else takes priority. I've heard this in different ways while growing up, and I believe when something really matters, you put your head down and you keep going. You take the chances, you take the opportunities, even if you feel that you're underqualified for them. And when things get a little hard, you don't waste your time complaining, but you work through it. Along the way, people are going to give you enough space for you to be yourself and for you to build your own path. I've also realized that taking in different perspectives is just as important. There's always something that you don't know, something new to learn. So I stay open, I listen, and I grow from it.
I grew up hearing that daughters are not expected to take care of their parents financially, and that is one rule I decided doesn't apply to me. I am proud to say that I am, as a woman, as capable as a man is to handle that responsibility, and I truly believe it does not come with a gender label.
One of the very pervasive rules that I have seen in my career is that women have to be warm, women have to be agreeable, they have to be likable. Very interestingly, when it comes to competence and likability, it has a very positive correlation when it comes to successful men. However, in terms of successful women, when we look at competence and likability, they have a very negative correlation. This rule has to be busted. This rule has to be changed. And two things which have really worked for me is, number one, be very direct. Those women who are direct, who are very clear in what they want, what is good for the organization, profitable, what can get stuff done. If you are clear about it, directly communicate it. Secondly, is being decisive. You need to be making your own decisions. You need to be understanding what is right and what is wrong.
So there's this rule that says pick a lane, stay in it, become an expert. Well, I did not. I paved my own road. I chose how I wanted to see success, and well, I'm not there yet, but I'm loving the journey and I have no regrets. Well, that's what you feel when you don't need to follow the norm.
Over time, I have realized how important it is to hold clear standards for how we are treated, both personally and professionally. Setting boundaries and stepping away from situations that don't reflect mutual respect is not difficult, it's necessary. For me, that mindset has been an important part of growing more confident and staying aligned with my values.
One rule I decided didn't apply to me was the idea of choosing a safe and predictable career path. The expectation was to stay close to home and follow a conventional route, prioritizing stability over everything else. But I always wanted to do work that excites and challenges me. Growth happens when you step out of the comfort zone. So I choose the path that felt right to me.